All right. All right, guys. So, welcome to today's session. Mark Lloyd's going to be co-hosting with me today, and we're just going to be talking about a few features that we've got at realestate.com. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Premier Plus option or haven't used it before, or those of you that just want a bit of a refresh as to the advantages and the benefits of what you can actually do with this realestate.com subscription. So obviously here in South Australia, we've had a Premier Plus subscription now for a couple of years since we've first come in, and we found that going from a standard listing to a Premier Plus listing has elevated more so than the properties. It's also elevated the agents as well. So it's giving us more exposure because obviously with the Premier Plus option, we obviously have our faces available online and we have our branding online as well. So it's given us presence and let us be known. But there's obviously some features that come along with the Premier Plus as well, some certain things that we can do. So if anyone isn't using Premier Plus, or you've just switched over from your standard subscription in the state that you're in to Premier Plus, this might be very useful for you. And Premier Plus has a few options and a few advantages. So for starters, the property is seen at the top of the page, and every 14 days it'll rotate, and it will do that for the life of the property. It doesn't matter if it's on the market for 10 days or 150 days, it'll keep rotating. The second thing that it does is it gives us obviously branding with our face on there as well. And the third thing it does is it gives us an e-brochure that goes out as soon as a property is listed live. And it gives us the opportunity to have one free listing bump per campaign and an additional e-brochure during a campaign. What we can also do with the Premier Plus subscription is before we're about to launch a property, if you can get together 3 or 4 photos, you can launch a coming soon campaign, which can run for 14 days prior to the property being launched. It can't run for any more than 14 days, but you can have up to 14 days as a coming soon campaign before the property launches. So that's an advantage there as well. So if you know you've got a house that's in pretty good condition, you're just launching a certain date, go get a photo of the front, go get a money shot of the living area or lounge room or whatever it might be, some wow factor, you can jump into Ignite and you can do a coming soon campaign as well. So we'll go through a couple of things on how to do that as well. So let me just share my screen and let's get stuck straight in. So everyone can see my screen here, can you? Yep. All right, let me just bring up Ignite. Now, most of the stuff that we do is going to be done through this Ignite login. All righty. So all we need to do is you move over here to listings and campaigns. You can click on for sale. Let's say we want to launch a coming soon. All right. So let's start with the process of this. So let's say we've got a property that's launching that we want to start a coming soon campaign. We click on the coming soon button. And then all we do is click on this red button down here, create a coming soon listing. We'd put the address in here. So I'll just put my address, for example. Golfview Heights. Do we want the address visible or do we want to hide the number and street name? Now, if we hide the number and street name, it's just going to say Golfview Heights. So that can get people calling you and inquiring, where's this property in Golfview Heights you just listed? I normally think that because the address is going to be visible when the property goes online, I sometimes like using this hide number and street name because it'll get some inquiry happening. And of course, inquiry means a ringing phone. It means a conversation you can engage with your client through. So when you do this, you've got to understand that you are agreeing to the cost of a Premier Plus listing. So as soon as you do a coming soon campaign, even if somebody contacts you and you organise a private inspection and you sell it before it hits the market and all that sort of stuff, you will still be charged the Premier Plus listing price. So before proceeding, please ensure you have permission to post this listing and you accept their terms and conditions. I don't have an example to show you guys yet, so I'm not going to click this button and move forward. But by clicking that button, you are agreeing to paying that particular cost. The next screen simply asks you to quickly enter in a little bit of a description, very basic. It asks you to choose a few photos and then to basically activate that. And that'll get sent off as a coming soon listing when you see the alerts come through on your SMS. All right, so that's the first feature that we have there. Secondly, for sale. Now we've got listing bumps, okay? So a listing bump is every now and then, every 14 days, a property will rotate. So if I just go into let's just say this property here, for example, and if I click on this property, as well as giving me all the stats of the property, 37,000 times the campaign's been seen, 915 listing views, 23 inquiries, 17 inspections. You can see that there are statistical data there, which is all fantastic and all great. All right, so I can see everything, who's looked at the floor plan, who's looked at the video, how many people have interacted and things like that. So that's fantastic. But it also shows me what my audience is also comparing to. So my audience is also looking at this property here and this property and this property and that property. So it gives me other properties that the same clients have clicked it on. So you can start to compare sort of what they're looking at. But let's go here and you go up to manage. And you can see here, e-brochure. You have an e-brochure credit available for this property. Click book now to send. Now I've got an auction on this property happening on Friday, right? So this is a good example because what I'm going to do is I'm going to book this now because I've got a credit. If you don't have a credit, it will not tell you you have a credit. Okay, so if you've got this blue line up here, you've got a credit. So I'm going to book it now because I want to send out an e-brochure to everybody, letting them know when the auction is going to be. So I'm going to book that now. So everybody is going to receive that as an email, just confirming the final inspection dates and the auction time. So I've just done that now. I'm going to book it for as soon as possible, or I can set a specific date. I always book them as soon as possible because sometimes they take 12 to 24 hours to launch. So I'm just going to click ASAP and I'm going to book now. And that's it. My free e-brochure has now been used. All right. Now, if I want to purchase another one, I can purchase them for 49 bucks. All right. So see how it's changed from you have a free e-brochure to use to purchase an e-brochure for $49. So now if I go back in here, I can't send another e-brochure unless I hit the purchase button. So now it's telling me my free one's gone. Everyone from now on is 49 bucks. All righty. Now I can also go listing bump. Now it says to me the next rotation of this property is happening on the 22nd of May, and it's the 8th of May now. But what I'm going to do before I just quickly go in there and just access it, I'm just going to go into realestate.com and I'm just going to find out where I'm actually sitting and if it is worthwhile me to do a listing bump at this particular time, because just because, so I'll go Parry Hill West. Let's find out where the property's sitting first before I decide if I want to bump it or not. Hey, look, auction 9th of May, 6:30 p.m. There's not many properties in Parry Hills West. All right. I'm already sitting at the top there because what happens is it'll rotate. If there's only a few properties in the area, you'll rotate sooner to the top than what you will in 14 days. So I'm just going to leave. I don't need my listing bump because I'm at the top of page 1 already with that particular property. So good thing that I checked, because just because it says my next rotation is the 22nd of May, that would mean that it's actually probably rotated today, because let's have a look at my diary. Yep, it did. It rotated automatically today because the 22nd of May is in 14 days time. So I've double checked it before I've gone and used it. Some people just go in here and use it without double checking it, and you might be using something for free that you didn't have. Now, I would say the best time to use a listing bump is, like I said, a couple of days before an auction. All right. It might be, let's say, for example, this property had gone to auction and the property hadn't sold, and I now have released the property with a price point on the property. And let's say for some reason I'm down the bottom of the page and I've just put a price on the property. I'd probably want to get that back in front of the eyes of viewers. So I might do it then. I might get a price reduction or a price change. It might have been a property that was on the market for $930 to $960 and I'm not getting any traction, and we've just had a vendor meeting and the vendors realigned their price point and they've now said, look, Bjorn, put it on the market for $899. I might decide to do a listing bump and an e-brochure at that particular point in time. So before an auction, when a campaign has a change in price, or when you've passed auction and you've now put a price on a property, or even if you've been doing a best offers campaign and you've ran through a couple of weeks and without a price and you haven't had the luck and now you've put a price on the property, might be a good idea to do that then as well. Any questions on listing bumps? I know this might be like a bit of a recap for a lot of people, but has anyone got any questions on that, or any experiences they've had with them, or any good stories of what they've done with them in the past that have resulted in sales or anything like that? Happy audience, Mark. All quiet. All right, cool. So basically, that's how you access your listing bump and your e-brochure. You can do image optimization as well. So you can click on here and it will score the images as to which ones are getting the best. So it tells me that my cover image, is in the best possible process, right? If you find that there's another image that's working out better, you can see that they're scaled 1 to 10 based on the algorithm, which takes into account order interactions, So if there's an image that has higher interactions, it'll give that one a higher score, and then that's one is the one to use. But as you can see, this is a beautiful property, nice, big, large frontage. If this was a little tiny dog box and it didn't have much frontage and street appeal, I might end up deciding that I want to use this photo here as my main image, right? So you can change that around there as well. So that's that. No questions on that, guys? Everyone's cool with that?
Yeah, Bjorn, you just might want to mention strengths check. That's who he's looking at too, because sometimes it points out things that we haven't used.
Strength check? Yep, so this will tell you how your listing is performing. And if there's any recommendations, it'll tell you, show price. I don't have a price on this one because it's an auction. Include land size, okay, so recommended. So I do have the land size on this, but let me just go and check that now and have a look at that. I'll go into agent box, which will soon be Rex, which I'm looking forward to. Let's go in and have a look. Now I've noticed that when you put this, see, I put it in the wrong spot. I've got it in the external area. So that's just actually given me, that's a very good example there because it's just showing me, hey, Bjorn, you've forgotten about this. So now I'm going to save that and update it. So thanks for pointing it out, Eric, because that's just drawn something to my attention that I wasn't aware of. Include floor plan, we've got that. Show address. So basically, I didn't have the land size, now I do. Price is something that people want to see, but price isn't something that I recommend with an auction. Add energy efficient rating. Well, I don't actually know the actual energy efficiency rating of this particular property. Says that I've got the images looking good. Include a 3D tour, where we don't have a 3D tour in our budget for that one. Inspections are loaded up as well. So when I do an auction, what I'll do with my auctions is I'll actually list all of my open inspections that are upcoming. I'll normally only list an open for a property that I'm selling, on the Monday or Tuesday of that week. But if I've got an auction, I will put a whole series of opens in there. So there you can see, it's telling me the strength of it's 69%. The only things I could do is probably add a price and add a 3D tour and add the efficiency rating, and that's about it there. So that's that there. And obviously you've got insights in here where you can have a look at, the CMAs. I'm not going to go into everything in here. I just wanted to go through mainly the listing bump, because if we have a look here, if I go into here, you can obviously select if you want to use show all agents or whatnot. I'm just selecting myself. But if I go into here, we've got 61 properties available, guys, as a team that have listing bumps. So if any of these are your properties and they're not moving and you need some action on them, change the wording around, change some photos up, mix it up a little bit, make it look different. There's 61 properties here that we've got in the team that can all be listing bumped. You want to make sure that you're using your listing bumps and that you're using your e-brochure credits on every single listing, because otherwise it's just going to waste. Now, let's say, for example, you put it on the market and it's sold, bang, 2 days and the house is sold, right? So you think, okay, cool, sweet, it's all done. Well, what you might want to do is, what's one? Let me have a look here. Chatting away. Putting on mute there, right? Okay, so I'm a bit cheeky, right? I figure do things and get away with them and get told off rather than ask permission. So what I've done, this property here in 61 Maxley Road, right? I sold the property. I'm about to mark it as unconditional to go into the sold section. But before I've done that, I've gone in here and changed my heading to say sold by Bjorn Kunzel in 2 opens. Sold by Bjorn Kunzel, sold after 2 opens for 820. Vendor's minimum price expectation, 765. Marketing investment, 47 buyers visited the property. 8 written offers were received. Final negotiation price was a 25 increase on the buyer's original offer. 7 buyers want a similar home and I have their details. 46 buyers still on my book searching. Bjorn achieved an outstanding result for the sale of this modest contemporary brick home, and here is the story. The client was referred by her parents and sister who had also sold with Bjorn and were extremely happy. Not all agents care to the extent Bjorn does, and his strategy, attention to detail, communication combined with 70, blah, blah. You get the idea. If you have a similar home to sell, please call me and I can give you free access to my pre-registered buyers. No sale, no charge, free access to leftover buyers, cancel anytime, blah, 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 blah. I've added all that in to the beginning of the description, and then I've gone into here and I've gone into offers and contracts and I've made it unconditional. And then I've selected for it to show in the sold section of realestate.com with the price on it. Because if I left this in the for sale section, realestate.com would pick up the phone and call me pretty fast and they'd kick our asses and they'd say, you've got to get this, otherwise the property's going to be taken down. So what I've done is I've changed the text around. Now this shows in the sold section. If buyers or sellers are looking in the sold section, there's a bit of a story there that could hopefully get more listings. So I could do that before I move it to the sold section. I could be cheeky and I could go into listing bump and go listing bump and bump it to the top of the page. And then I could go e-brochure, plan an e-brochure now and send an e-brochure off. And then in an hour's time, before realestate.com or anyone else figures it out, put it as unconditional, move it to the sold section, and it's going to get a secondary e-brochure when it goes out to the sold section as well. If you want to do something like this without quite getting in trouble, you can also do something like this. Here's another one that I've just sold along with Prague. And this one, you can see this one, it's just got the normal text in it, but it's unconditional now. So I could go under contract. Sorry, you missed out. So I might go under contract. Sorry, you missed out. Wow, you know, what a popular property. Indeed, as families want to be zoned to the Heights School. This one, I've got to be careful I don't use the word sold anywhere in here, right? If I want it to show in the for sale section, I can't use the word sold. If I use the word sold, realestate.com, I'm going to pick up the phone, kick my ass, kick Chris's ass, kick everyone's backsides. So I'm going to go, this one attracted a cash unconditional buyer and is now no longer available. To find out about other homes coming, please call me. Right? If you are thinking of making a move, please give me a call yourself as I advise. Now I can save that. I'm not going to get in trouble with that ad from realestate.com showing in the sold section, showing in the for sale section of realestate.com because it doesn't mention the word sold like my other cheeky ad did, right? But let's go into Mowbray Heights and see where this property is sitting now. And let's see where it is. So you can see I've got this banner advertising as well, which I've paid for, and we'll go into that as well. I've got banner advertising and carousel advertising. If anyone gets a property in Mowbray Heights, let me know, send me a text and I'll put it into the carousel advertising. Now there's the property there and it says taking offers now and it's under offer. So I don't want it to show like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into 19 Melrose. I'm going to look at my offers and my contracts and I'm going to see it sold for $915. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the property. I want to share that sales result because this vendor was one that said to me, look, Bjorn, reduce my price anything between $875 and $895. I'll take it now. And I ended up getting a property price of $915. So I want people to see that it went for $915. So I want to put that in there as well. Features are in there. Myself and Prav are showing there. And save that. Whoops. So that's all good there. So now that will then show with the price point. Now let me have a look. I'm going to go back into Ignite and let's just close this down and let's just find 19 Melrose Street and let me see if I do have a listing bump available for it. The next rotation date is in 15 days. So let's have a look. I think I've used everything on this. Sent on the 3rd of April. So yeah, I did use it on the 3rd of April. All right. You can only perform one listing bump in a campaign, so be sure to use your bump wisely. I'm right down the bottom of the page. You know what? My property's sold. Next rotation is not until the 15th of May. Let's just bump it. I've just updated the advice. I've updated the price. I've put a little bit of a spill in there. Let's bump it now. And let's it'll be bumped within the next hour. Fantastic. So let's just have a look. I've used my e-brochure, so I can't do the e-brochure on it. But can you see how you can start to then utilize these things, guys, to try to, you know, access things? Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully you find it useful. Now, we've also got, what is it called, Mark? Agent Elevate?
Agent Elevate and the sponsorship as well.
Yep. So I'm going to go into my agent admin because, like I said, we do have. What do you want to talk about that, Mark? You talk about both those things. Why don't you do that? I'll get you to. I'll stop sharing my screen. Do you want to request to share your screen, Mark?
Can do, mate. All right. So I guess from an agent Elevate point of view, coming over to eXp, I thought it was pretty important to try and maintain my profile. I've been selling for 23 years, so it's been a long time. But just to reinforce my profile and show buyers and sellers that I haven't gone anywhere, I'm still in the area, I try and leverage off of that. Now, I know a lot of you guys use Rate My Agent, which is awesome. I think I've had a lead come through this year from Rate My Agent, but I don't use it too heavily. I think I've always very much focused on realestate.com. Why? Because it's where buyers and sellers look. Sellers will look because they'll compare homes. Buyers will look because that's where they buy homes. We know a lot of buyers come from realestate.com, so I guess that's where I put my eggs mostly. But more to the point, when you look at that, the agent elevates. So as Bjorn said, if we look at the screen, I'll share my screen. Let's have a look here. Let's figure out how to do this. Sorry, guys, I'm new to this Zoom thing. Window, there we go. Maybe
the green button down the bottom, Mark, says share.
There we go. I've got it. I'm nearly there. Nearly there. So if we talk about Agent Elevate now, at the moment, there you go. Can you see my?
I think you got to see that. I think you got to request to share your screen.
Not winning here. Sorry, guys.
Look.
I did do that. It says your screen sharing. It says stop share. If you're not seeing it.
It's Mark's screen. Maybe it's just me. Let me just have a look.
I've got a green thing that says your screen sharing.
Yep, I think we're up, Mark. I can see your screen. Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So if I go back to sorry, let's just actually I'm just going to go here. Now at the moment we're on Elevate. I paid for Elevate straight away. Now the good thing is with the eXp, the subscription to the newer Premier Plus has given us a reduced rate with Elevate, which is just awesome. So what is Elevate? Elevate elevates your profile on realestate.com. So at the moment you're seeing my profile without Elevate. We've got a bit of an internal error that we're trying to fix at the moment. But once it's fixed, you get a whole lot more. So I think it's just gone down to $39. I think it was $59 a month. So for $39, what'll happen is they elevate your profile. You can see I've got 92 reviews there. Doesn't say a real lot. We're only just starting to get a bit of traction now. I've had a bit of a slow start because of a few different reasons. But then if we go to another agent that does have Elevate, this is the benefits that you're going to get. Now, I used to work with Matt. Matt's a great guy. He's got Elevate. So notice the difference between the two profiles straight away. Mine's a little plain and bland. We then go to something you've got a cover photo, so you can choose your cover photo. The other thing then that's really evident
We can only see
is
your profile, Mark.
sorry, you can't. Oh, sorry, you can't.
Your profile. You might have to move on to your other screen to see the other one.
Oh, right.
You're only sharing one of your screens at a time.
Okay, right. Yep. My apologies there. Let's
Bag
just
it
go
over,
back to that.
then
So,
your profile.
so that you can only see my profile, right?
Yeah.
Now,
But if you
how
push
do I?
that the window on your second window over, then it should work.
Yeah, there we go. There's that one there. Okay, so you'd see Matt's
Got it.
profile there now. Yeah,
Yep.
great. Sorry, guys, I'm pretty new to this.
Still good, man.
Okay, so the difference is now Matt's got a cover photo, whereas I didn't have that cover photo. The other thing as well is it shows more information here when a client rates you. Now I've got 92 reviews, Matt's got 63. When a client rates you, they now have the option to rate you on, were you professional? How good a communicator? Were you trustworthy? Were you reliable? Were you punctual? I think there's about a dozen or 15 different tags that they can tag. And your Elevate profile carries the top three. So as a buyer seller, when your profile is viewed, this is what you'd be seeing. So it spells straight off that you're professional, and it comes across really well. The other thing that you'll see in a listing now, I don't know. Well, let's see if we can see one of Matt's listings on here. Sold. Oh, it hasn't got many listings. Show more listings. That's probably not going to show. I'll just flick through here. Also with an Elevate profile, what it does is it puts your profile photo at the very, very end of the photo spool, just like that. All right. So therefore, you then get profiled on the photo spool. Without Elevate, you're not. You don't get that photo put in the photo spool. It just goes back to the first photo. So the other thing that will happen as well is when a seller inquires about a lead through realestate.com, it comes up with a whole heap of suggestions. And if you pay for Elevate, it'll put your profile in a higher ranked posse. So you'll get a look in over people that are not paying for Elevate. So the chances of you getting a lead from there are quite great. Now, in saying that, it works for me. And then obviously what I've also done is if we use this same screen, and you can still see this, as Bjorn said, I've then paid for the real estate sponsorship of Salisbury, which gives me the top banner and the side banner. So as I scroll down, the side banner. And just to note, I guess something was interesting because this cost a little bit of money. This is, $430 a month to have the sponsorship for Salisbury. I just wanted to put it there because I know it's going to imprint my profile within the area and people looking. I actually got a lead off of it last night, overnight, about 11:30. I had a lead come through Elevate. So I'm able then to obviously go into Ignite and pick up that lead. So it is actually starting to pay off. I've had 3 leads come through that in the last month. So it takes a little bit of traction. They're not all fruitful, but it starts to generate that little bit of interest, I guess. So I've found that good. Some areas are more expensive than others. If you're not in such a hot area, these can be quite cheap. So it's just a matter of actually looking onto the real estate ad slot link and seeing what's available and what might be coming up, and you can jump on it. So that married up with the Elevate profile gives me a really, really strong presence on realestate.com, increases my leads, and just puts me in front of sellers and buyers. That's something I think is worthy. It cost me a little bit of money, but I think we waste a lot of money in letterbox drops and bits and pieces. It's good profiling. So that's my thoughts, mate.
I 100% agree with that, and I think we should all use for $39 a month. The Agent Elevate to get a more exposure out there is worthwhile. Now, what Mark was saying about obviously, just let me share my other screen. What Mark was saying about the carousels and whatnot, guys, I spend $1,200 a month with realestate.com, and I hate realestate.com. But I understand that realestate.com is the place that you have to be because that's where everybody looks, right? So if you're not on realestate.com, you're not really being seen. Now, I'm just going to go in here and just quickly log in. If it wants to let me in. All right, beautiful. We're in. Cool. You can see my screen, guys?
Yep.
All right, so if I go up here, I click on eXp RLA 300-185, which is South Australia. This will show you suburbs, right? I've got Gillis Plains property showcase. I've got Gillis Plains sold price, and I've got Gillis Plains suburb sponsorship. Mine's $163 a month. All right, so I own this, and these ones are both unavailable because they're mine as well. All right, I've got Modbury Heights as well. That's $435 a month. So I'm paying $435 to be seen in Modbury Heights as a suburb sponsor, and another $163 a month to be seen in Gillis Plains. So Modbury Heights and Gillis Plains, we've both got eXp exposure in those particular areas. Now, there's also, if I go into here, where are we? Suburbs. Just give me a sec, guys. Mark, where do I go into again to see all the stuff that I've got? Am I in the wrong place?
I think you're poking around the right place, mate.
Where are we? So look, it'll show you what suburbs are available, right? So you can type in location, see if a suburb's available, and then contact Kirsten. And if you want to take one of the suburbs, you're going to be billed for it. But like, so for example, Aldinga's available for 87 for rent. For rent, there's a lot of them available for rent. Agri, don't even know where that is, but you can search where suburbs are. So you could go, for example, Ingle Farm. Let's see if Ingle Farm was available. Let's have a look what's available in banner advertising. It's sold. They're both sold. So you can come in, you can type in your suburbs and find out, what's available. Now, I'm just going to go into, I want to go into agent admin. Bear with me, guys. Because ad slot, that's where you go into to see, what's available. Now here, this is where I want to go. So here are all our bookings. So one of our agents has secured Monopara Downs. One of our agents has Craigmore. One of our agents has Smithfield. One of our agents has Monopara Downs again. I've got Gillis Plains. I've got Gillis Plains sold properties. What's for sale in Gillis Plains? I've got Modbury Heights. I've got Modbury. I've got Valley View. I've got Windsor Gardens, right? Now what I can do is I can go into, I think it's over here. Actually, no, it's in the home screen. What I can do, because I've got carousels, whoops. Just bear with me, guys. Where the hell's it gone? Nope.
Beyond, can I ask you a question if that's okay?
Yep.
What if the suburbs where the REA White agents are already featuring on the profile of realestate.com?
Take them down. Go after them. Try to get your market share, get exposed. I mean, obviously, you can't do anything about it. It will go to auction.
Yeah.
So you can contact Zali and say, look, this suburb is not available. When's this suburb going to auction? And they'll let you know.
Okay.
So that's one thing that you can do.
Or they do the auction for the profiles as well, is it?
Yeah, we have options. So with the suburb sponsorship, they get auctioned off.
Okay.
Not all of them do. I think you'll find the popular ones do. But the ones that might sit there inactive, you might be lucky enough to trip over a few that are not so popular and they've just got them priced and you can pick them up pretty cheap.
Mark, I'm trying to get back to that list where I adjust my my properties. Where the hell's it gone? Just bear with me for a sec, guys. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go back into that big list that I had of everything.
Is that Ignite, Bill?
No, it's in here, but where is it? I wanted to show you guys how I put things into the carousel and whatnot, but why is it not working? Why is it not? They must have changed something in here because this looks different to what it was looking like before when I went in there. I would have assumed it would be in marketing. Sorry, guys. Where are we? Exclusive showcase. There it is. Why am I showing you my exclusive showcases? View current bookings. All right, they've just shuffled things around a little bit to make it. Okay, here we go. So, Modbury Heights. Let's say I want to modify what shows in Modbury Heights. I can click on modify over here. Sorry, it took me a while to get there. And then I can just type in here. I can go Modbury. Okay, so there we are. 23A Deborah Grove. So that's in Modbury North. So you know what? I'm just going to put a plus there. Now Clifford's going to be rotating in there as well. What I can do is I can go click for the entire stock list for everyone from eXp to be rotating. Only listings from my Modbury Heights, or I can select individual listings. So I normally select individual listings, and I just make sure that my listings are shown in those showcases. So that way I'm getting more exposure. All right, so I can change and modify these showcases at any given time. You can see this one cost me $48 a week, right? So when I add up all of my expenses with realestate.com, like I said, guys, it's about $1,200 a month. But I've got the showcase in Windsor Gardens, I've got the showcase in Valley View, I've got the showcase in Modbury, I've got the showcase in Modbury Heights, I've got the showcase in Gillis Plains. Now, if I go back into just normal realestate.com, and if I just go in here, and if I go, you can see this is the showcase. On mobile phone, it comes up after the third or so listing, and then it just rotates listings through, right? But that's what comes up in the showcase there. And then each time we go into it, there'll be a different property that will come in there. Now, if I go in here and I go, for example, Valley View, search, you'll see that now we're in Valley View. I don't have any advertising for suburb sponsorship up there. It looks like it might be available actually, because it's got an Oz Lotto ad there instead. But you can see that I still have the property showcase, right? Now, even if I've got a standard listing, I can still choose to put a standard listing into the property showcase. So for example, if I went Valley View, right? The only standard listing I've got at the moment is one of them in 12 Crawley. Let's have a look here. 12 Crawley Street, Elizabeth Vale. If I've got a standard, let's say I get a standard listing in Modbury Heights, but I want the client to be able to be seen higher, I can get them a standard listing, but then I can put them in the property showcase for free. And even though they're a standard listing, they'll still rotate into the property showcase. So if I do that, what will happen is it will rotate. So then when I go back into realestate.com, that property listing at 12 Crawley Street, which was $199 standard listing because the vendor didn't want to spend any money, will actually still show up here as well. So it just gives you more exposure. So we've got that. So if you guys get any properties that are in, like I said, any of these particular suburbs of, Valley View, Windsor Gardens, Modbury Heights, Gillis Plains, let me know. They're the ones that I own. I'm happy to put your properties in there for free. You just let me know. I don't have Monopara, Smithfield, Craigmore, or Monopara Down. So talk to the agent that maybe has that. And if we went in there, it'd be pretty easy for us to find out who it is, because if we just go like this and we go Monopara Downs, for example, and search. Timothy Mann. Okay, so Tim's the guy who's secured that for those particular suburbs there as well. And look at this. Tim's actually got that for the here is when someone clicks on this, select the property to get appraised. That knows it's my properties. I'm just going to click on this one. I'm just going to go that I'm thinking about selling. And I'm just going to go, you know, within the next 12 months. This is what the client sees, right? Right. And then I'll just put my details in here. So Tim will get the lead, but he'll understand it's going to cost him any money. But Tim will actually get this come through to him. And this is exactly what a client would do, right? Put in their mobile number. And do I prefer to be contacted by email, call, or SMS? I like SMS, so SMS me. Right. Now go in there, you're almost done. Yep, that's me. I'm going to send that. Now, Tim's going to actually get that as a lead in his inbox. He's going to realize that I was just, you know, testing it because it's going to have all my details on there. But now what will happen is Tim will actually get that. Oh, don't know what that is. But Tim will actually get that information through. And that's how the leads come through from people clicking up on your banner advertising. So Mark said he's had 3 of those in a month. And that's fantastic. And if I click over here, it's just going to take me straight to Tim's property. As we can see, got the property there. And there's obviously the normal screen there. So there's just a few little things, guys, but I think it's important to understand that realestate.com, as much as they charge us $1 billion, squillion dollars for everything they do, like Mark said, it's the place to be seen. I'll admit, I made the mistake of being so anti-realestate.com and trying to be a renegade and a rebel and wanting to try to tear down the big beast and all this sort of stuff, that I went really hard with Rate My Agent. So I've gone and Rate My Agent extremely hard, but I'll show you the problem. If you go Rate My Agent and you go Bjorn Kunzel Rate My Agent, it's fantastic. I've got 420 reviews, but realestate.com won't accept a single one of them. So I can't get those views onto realestate.com, and more people go to realestate.com than they do go to, you know,
That's right.
to what do you call it? To Rate My Agent. People go to realestate.com more. So if I go in here and I go agents and I type in 5086, look at this, Ray White are all over it because Ray White are pumping it on realestate.com. Stefan Cilio, Blake, Lawrence, right? And then I'm right down there because, look, I've only got 16 reviews because I've only started doing realestate.com reviews in the last couple of months. So I've really, really screwed myself up by being so anti-realestate.com and so anti the beast that I've refused to take part in it. And, you know, I sell more properties than this bloke Blake sells, right? But I'm not being showcased in there because I'm not promoting realestate.com. So I think it's important that as much as realestate.com are the big beast, they're a lot more powerful than Rate My Agent. I'm going to start putting my focus on realestate.com reviews now. And apparently Rate My Agent said there's a way you can get a realestate.com review and then you can put the realestate.com review to Rate My Agent. But you can't do it the other way around. So I've learned the hard way. I've got 420 reviews here and it looks fantastic and beautiful on Rate My Agent, but when it comes to realestate.com, I'm not getting seen there. The other thing as well with realestate.com is that if we don't put a sold price on our properties and disclose the sold price, it doesn't come up in the sold section either. So you always want to be disclosing that sold price every time you possibly can. So when you go with this 90 Melrose Street, this is unconditional, right? I can see now that there's 20 grand deposits being paid. So I'm going to click on overdue and I'm going to click complete. Now, I'm going to let it sit there, but if I go click to unconditional, you see how it shows here, portal status. Do I want to show it as under contract or sold? Do I want the sold price? Confidential display. You must show display sold price. Unless your client says to you, I don't want the sold price displayed, make sure that when you're doing this, you always click display, because if you have confidential, you're not going to be seen in the sold section of realestate.com either. Now, I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to ride on that, you know, e-brochure with the under contract story first, and then I'm going to be a bit cheeky. And after that's gone out, I'm then going to change it to a sold with the whole sold story in there, and then put it to the sold section. And I'm even going to be a little bit cheekier again. And if I can get a vendor testimonial, like I've got one here, There was one at 2B Pepper Tree Pocket. I put my vendor testimonial, I put my testimonial onto YouTube. If we go into links and I go add a link, right, this is the property video. I've always thought about this. What about I'm going to throw a testimonial, get a vendor video testimonial, I'm going to get them to film a testimonial, I'm going to put it onto my YouTube channel, then I'm going to put that YouTube testimonial video link in here as a YouTube link, and then I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to send it to the sold section of realestate.com, and until they tell me otherwise, I'm just going to try to be a little bit cheeky and see if I can get my vendor reviews in there as well. So a few little hints and tips for you guys today. Agent Elevate, Ignite, the benefits of that. Any questions from anybody?
Beyond,
Yes.
how to start this agent elevator? Is it we need to call the REA rep or we can do it from our side?
Just email to admin saying that you want to take part in the Agent Elevate, and $39, and they'll start billing it for you, and they'll get it set up for you. Or just contact Zali. So contact Kirsten or contact Zali.
Can you share Jali's contact number?
Yep, I've got her contact details here. What I'll do, Zali, I'll put her number in that big group message that I sent out to everybody today.
Oh, yeah.
So that anyone that doesn't have her number will have her number and her details. I'll just take a snapshot of it and I'll put it into that group SMS. So then you guys have all got her details there. Because she's our realestate.com rep. So anything to do with realestate.com, just reach out to her. All right. Anything else, guys? No. Everyone's happy. Cool. Well, that's it then for today. Have a great day and go out there and kick some butt.